All right, what up, everybody? D Wall in the building with the Dr. Pepper hat. You know, today we're here with Joe Mexican, creator of Dope Smack and videographer of Diamonds in the Dirt. What's going on, Joe?
Not much, bro. Good to have.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
good to have me. Thanks
yeah,
for inviting me. This
definitely.
ain't my show, so
Right, but superhero just left the gym, so
you know it. Yeah.
uh, speaking of superheroes, I've always known you working on videos and
Right.
music and stuff like that. But what made you jump from being an artist to a videographer to being a comic book creator?
Wow. Well, man, I guess I always wanted to be a director since I was like 5 years old. So
Right.
I had the opportunity to jump on board a record label back in 1998,
Yeah.
and I started managing some kids that wanted to rap, and I ended up liking the whole process, and I opened up my own studio.
Right.
And when I did that, I mean, it just kicked off, you know, my career in a path where I just met a bunch of artists,
Right. You
and
networked really well.
exactly, and then I met some artists that were doing movies, and from there they were like, hey, come do some movies with us. And
Right.
once I did that, man, I started networking with everybody that was inside of the industry,
Yeah.
and I learned everything I could just because I knew that was my passion, really.
Right.
Doing music was something that fell in my lap, but doing movies was always my passion, and
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to do. So I learned, and I started doing movies, and then just thought one day it was something happening with a movie. It was a big mess. It was there's always some drama somewhere. I was
Yeah.
dealing with some people that weren't really good business people, and so I decided to just do my own thing, and that's when I started doing music videos.
Right.
I think it was like 2006.
Yeah, because you were at the Go White Boy video shoot.
Right, and I didn't have nothing. I was just a lighting technician at that point.
Right, I saw you
So
pushing the camera down the railing.
right, exactly. But I wasn't like directing or nothing, But I already had it in my mind, because I've always had that sense of storytelling since I was a kid.
Yeah,
I always made these movies in my head, and I just had never had. When I was a kid, I didn't know the process, so I didn't know how to put them down on wax and make something happen.
right. So, the comic book is called Dope Smack. Right here. Let me switch hands. Right here, Dope Smack. Let me pull it out a little bit. But Dope Smack. What, like the title, I ran it by a few people,
Hmm.
and some of them older, that aren't really familiar with today's terminology and stuff,
Right.
and they're like, "Ew, dope smack." It sounds like drugs, but it's really not.
No, not at all. And
So let people know what the story behind dope smack.
well, Alex Santos, who is Dope Mac's alter ego, or Dope Mac is Alex Santos' alter ego.
Yeah,
He basically is a goofball. You know what I'm saying? And when he was a kid, his father gets murdered by a dope dealer,
yeah,
and his father was actually a dope dealer himself. You know what I'm saying? But he was murdered, and he got sent to an orphanage. And ever since then, he had a vendetta against drug dealers. He just thought
right,
in his head they were bad people, so he wanted to get rid of them. He wanted really revenge. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to avenge his father. So um, he's not only in that sense of mind where he just wants revenge, but he's a goofball. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
the whole his character is just kind of
out there.
cheesy, goofy. You know what I'm saying? Like he
Yeah,
just he's a big dreamer, and it's kind of like I was writing kind of like myself. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a dreamer. I'm just dreaming constantly about something, and I think that's what inspired me to write him. Because he dreams about being a superhero in a universe where there was no
right,
superheroes.
yeah,
And that's where the name comes from. You know what I'm saying? Because people, he has a his catchphrase.
right.
When people ask him why Dope Smack, because it's a horrible name, he always says because I'm going to bring dope dealers down with the fist of justice. You know.
Nice.
So yeah, so that's his cheesy line, and everybody thinks he's just a goofball, and nobody takes him serious. He's just a clown, but at the end of the day, he ends up saving the day.
Right. Now, Dope Smack takes place in New Orleans. What made you pick New Orleans over maybe New York or Miami or Los Angeles?
Well, I think that New Orleans, originally I was gonna make it here in Baton Rouge because I thought the Baton Rouge, with the crime rate that we have, is like it would be perfect. But I ended up going to do a music video out in New Orleans when I was developing the script, and I got the opportunity to be filming on top of buildings
Right.
and doing all kind of stuff in the street, and I was just like, man, this is where I need to film. You know,
Right.
this is our very own Gotham City. That's how it feels when you're in New Orleans. I just always feel like I'm in
Right. It
Gotham.
has that old school kind of
Exactly.
vibe to it.
Except when you go to Bourbon Street, there's nothing but
Right.
party there. But whenever you go everywhere else, you're like, Jesus, this is grimy. You know what I'm saying? This is,
Yeah.
and I felt like it would make the character a richer character if we showed that whole you know
Yeah, because New Orleans had more to offer than Baton Rouge did.
exactly. Well, in the buildings, man, it's got buildings. Dope Smack flies, so it'll be cooler if he's flying through buildings other than
Right.
trees over here in Baton Rouge. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, when you were creating the comic book,
Mhm.
you had a few challenges that popped up along the way, maybe more than a few. Not completely sure, but tell me about one of, or which challenge was probably the hardest, or which ones you had to go through to get to Dope Smack.
Well, I think that the biggest challenge for me was having my illustrator quit on me halfway through
Yeah.
the beginning. Because the original design was done by one illustrator, and he had a lot of stuff going on,
Right.
and he had to quit. He has to step back, and that really set me back, not only monetarily but time wise. Because
Right.
I had already set a release date,
Right.
and I was on board. And once he did that, I mean, I had to start all over because I had to find the right person to do that.
Right. And you just can't find somebody like that anywhere.
Not with that talent. I mean, he's very
Right.
talented, but at the end of the day, I found somebody that was great, and I think that he fit exactly what I needed to do. Especially
Right.
to the fact that I wanted to keep the whole story and all the illustrations. I wanted to keep them real to New Orleans. I
Right.
wanted to keep them true to New Orleans, and I was going back and forth a lot with my other illustrator that he wasn't really understanding.
Right.
Like, hey, the cemetery has to look certain way. You know what I'm saying?
Right. The
Or
gates have to have a fleur de lis at the top, instead of a spike.
well, all the little things that
Right.
make New Orleans New Orleans.
Yeah.
He wouldn't really capture that in the whole essence of the comic, and um, so I think that this new illustrator, which is Lucas Assis, he's from Brazil.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and he did a great job.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Here you have this copy of Dosman without the cover, so you
Oh
can
yeah.
really actually see it without the shine.
Yeah, and skim through
That's
a few pages.
Wait. Let me see my favorite page. Let me see. I think this is one of my favorite pages because it shows him in action. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Now you have some Comic Cons. Well, before we go to the Comic Cons, every
Yeah.
superhero needs a super suit.
Right.
And on the slideshow at the bottom of the screen, there's a picture of you in your super suit at a Comic Con. What was the process like? This is two questions. What was the process like to get a customized outfit?
Hmm.
And two, do you have to stay a certain weight or keep your body a certain way so you'll be able to fit into the costume?
Well, that's a good question. The first one was the process of doing it. Man, it took me 8 months to get the suit going. I was a little chunky when I started, actually.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I remember uh, when I started developing the script, I started hitting the gym really hard, you know?
Yeah.
And I always hit the gym, but there was this period when I was just like, you know, I had just had kids, you know, and I was taking care of kids, and that made life harder for me to have to go
Right.
to the gym. And, you know, with, man, doing music videos and productions and all that stuff, there
Right.
wasn't really a lot of time. So I'm still constantly working, but now I kind of make the time, hey, I got to go hit this because uh, being in shape for this role is
Yeah.
important. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um,
It's not like you can just say, "Hey, I need a extra large instead of a large." You know.
exactly. But this was tailored to me. Now, at the moment, I think I lost a little too much weight
Yeah.
when it comes to, so the suit might be a little looser in some parts. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna have to get that tailored. But I've gained muscle mass,
Right.
so it kind of helps, you know, make it look a little bigger than what it is. It also, you know, it has layers underneath, so
Yeah. So
uh,
it's also hot.
it's hot as hell. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't shoot in the summer in the middle of Louisiana with that thing on, man.
Tell
So
them about the time it made your face shake.
okay, so yeah, so last July we decided to do shoot a teaser for it, you know, and I still haven't released it. I can't believe it's been a year already.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
time flies. But we shot this teaser in the middle of New Orleans. It's good. We had, you know, live machine guns, you know,
Yeah.
not real bullets, but, you know, blank guns in the middle of New Orleans, and I got cops all over the place. Uh, they're watching, making sure nobody, you know, keeping
Yeah.
it safe, you know, because this is like a year after that incident where that actor shot his DP.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't, I know who he is, but I'm not gonna
Yeah.
mention his name and
Nah.
none. But it was we wanted to keep the whole thing safe, and you know, I'm dressed up in the middle of New Orleans with this
Yeah.
suit in the middle of the street, and it's just the sun is blazing, and
Yeah.
man, I don't know how long I lasted. Maybe like 4 hours, 5 hours, maybe. And my face started twitching.
Oh
I was just
wow.
like, I was like, man, what? My face has never twitched before.
Right.
And I'm like, man, it has to be because of the suit, you
Right.
know? Because man, it was the 100-degree weather, and
Yeah.
you know, it's layers of um, material that don't allow my body to breathe. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
I have the muscle suit. I have the uh, compression suit, and then I have the actual suit on top of that. So
So
it's
it's
three
like three
layers.
layers.
It's three
Yeah.
layers. Yeah.
Wow. Now, you're gonna be at some Comic Cons coming up,
Right.
and you can look on the top right, left. I mean,
Hmm.
side of the screen, and they'll have a few there. Can you give us like talk about two or so of them so we can get people going?
Okay. So my favorite one right now, so far, was the first one I ever went to, which was the Microcon at Baton Rouge's main library.
Yeah.
Microcon, it was full of kids, and when I stepped in the building, I was already dressed up in full Dose Mac gear.
Perfect.
People didn't know who I was,
Right.
but kids were like following me around like whoa, because you know this is an actual movie suit. This is not just like a, you know, something I threw together. So
Right.
when you look at the suit, it's everybody just was amazed, and the kids especially would just follow me, taking pictures, and
Yeah, because you said one dude followed you the whole time
the
shooting
whole time.
video.
Yeah, well, he was taking pictures, you know, he was a nice dude, but he's like, oh, let me take a picture. I took
Right.
one. I went to the other side, and I know that I turned around, he's behind me still. You know what I'm saying? Snapping pictures. I do all this, and then
Paparazzi.
right, paparazzi. Yeah.
So now, if you haven't read Dope Smack before, or if you're just tuning in and you're like, "What the hell is this?" What do people need to know about Dope Smack to get suckered into reading it? It's 28 pages, so
Right.
it's not like you have to go through 300 pages to to like
Right.
a novel or something. You
Right.
can do it kind of briefly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to sucker him into it.
Well,
I wouldn't say that, but I want to. I
what'll bring
wanna
them into
I
it?
wanna bring them into the story. You know, the whole thing about Dope Smack is that Dope Smack is based kind of like in a reality universe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, what would happen somebody right now actually got superpowers type thing, you know what I'm saying? Everybody would think he's a clown,
Right.
you know, and that's what the whole story is about, you know. And I'm bringing in things that are of the times, like, you know, the he's fighting drug dealers, you know, he's
Yeah.
fighting crime, but he's also got a vendetta against drug dealers, and then
Right.
he's got the help of chief of police, Chief
Right.
Murphy in New Orleans, because everybody in his department is corrupt. So he kind of it brings some type of reality, you know, and especially being from Louisiana, you're like, damn, like you actually see, you know, buildings, like all the buildings. I would send
Right.
pictures of the buildings in. I would go to Google Maps, position my camera,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, snapshot it, send that to my illustrator and say, this is what I want you to draw.
Oh wow.
This is how New Orleans looks.
Right. So it's based off of real stuff.
Real stuff, yeah. And the
Right.
story, you know what I'm saying, it's compelling. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of superheroes, you can tell, you know. I
Yeah.
love Batman, I love Spider-Man, and you know, all superheroes come from a place, you know, of pain, you know. They want to something really dramatic happens in their life, you know. So I kind of like took all of those little pieces and adapted it into the plot, the story, you know. And if you actually read the film script,
Yeah.
I mean, it's more in depth, you know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
Like you see a lot more things that is hard to put on in a comic book. But anyway, I think not just the story, but the illustrations.
Yeah.
I think they compete with some, you know, top of the line. It took me a while to find somebody to do. Oh, I don't know if you can see it or not. The camera's moved. To find somebody that could actually. And I'm giving away the whole comic. I mean, at least go buy it. You know,
Yeah.
you're not get to.
Oh,
There you go.
speaking of that, like, did you ever consider doing like a e-comic, like an e-book or an audio book? You
Well,
know, with special effects. You know, like, you ever thought about doing that?
not necessarily. I know that I have it digitally, so you can
Okay.
buy the comic book digitally.
Is it
Um,
on Amazon?
it's on Amazon,
I'm gonna buy it tonight.
Kindle, and you can also soon I'm gonna have it to where they could just do the print on demand, where you
Right.
can buy it on Amazon and it just starts. You know, they
Right.
ship it from you. Although it ain't honestly, I would just buy it from the website
Yeah.
darkatomstudios.com.
Yeah.
ATOM, not ADOM. Say a lot of people are, oh, Atom, like the superhero. No,
Right.
darkatomstudios.com. You can get it from there. The quality that I've got these things printed up is like top grade. So
Right. I'm gonna grab the poster.
yeah, go ahead.
And then, you know, still, let's see. Is it right side up?
Yep.
Okay. We have the Dope Smack posters. You can look up Joe Mexican on Facebook. You still have some posters, right?
Yeah, I have a bunch of posters, so
All right.
you can get those from the website as well. We also have a bundle, so you can get the comic book, you can get the poster, and you can get a T-shirt as a bundle for $35.
Right. So y'all need to go check into that. Give them the website one more time.
darkatomstudios.com.
All right. And it's Joe Mexican on all medias.
Joe, well, you know, on social media you can just go to Dope Smack, one word, look that up, or Dark Atom Studios, or you can look me up, Joe Mexican, and I'll pop up anywhere.
All right, dude.
Except Twitter.
Yeah,
You know,
Twitter.
I don't really much. I have a Twitter account, but I don't mess with Twitter that much. You know.
No, no. Well, I appreciate you coming through.
You don't want to talk about diamonds in the dirt?
Yeah, we're
We're
about
gonna
to.
stop. Yeah. Are you gonna delete this or edit it?
Yeah.
Like
That says stop recording, right?
yeah.